Investigate both sides of the argument, come up with your own conclusions. Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whack and are not necessarily the views of anyone. ¿Cómo estás? A todo madre. ¿Podemos ayudarnos más? Si se puede. Don't take my word for it. Look that mess up. Now, I can't help. I'm going to get into the Kash Patel stuff, but I just saw this clip right here, and I'm sorry. It's probably gonna trigger some folks, but it's so fresh.
President, they're willing to give him unlimited power.
Hold on. Anyways, this clip right here about the food. It says, for the rest of your life, you can only eat from one of these regions. Which do you choose? I'm going with G or D. And D is first. Anyways.
Or they're willing to say that he can take SEAL Team 6 and kill anybody he wants. They were willing to affirm that. They're willing to say...
I wanted to start this over, but how do I do that? Hold on. Whatever. We're just going to let it play in loop, okay? Apologies.
That ICE can racially profile anybody they want. The United States Supreme Court has said you can racially profile Latinos based on their accent or the way they look. You guys have everything you want. You have legal racial profiling. You've ended DEI. You've ended affirmative action. You get all the best jobs, even if you're not qualified. You can be a Fox Weekend host and be the Defense Department's Secretary of Defense. You can be Kash Patel and be a podcaster who wants to go to Valhalla and run the FBI, as long as you're conservative. You have everything. Why are y'all so angry? What the fuck are you angry about? You've banned all of our books. You've banned Black history. You banned the 1619 Project. You don't have to compete with women for jobs. You've chased them out of the military. You've chased them out of the senior positions in the Department of Defense. You've gotten rid of all the Black history in the museums. Museums are terrified. I have contacts that I'm talking to inside of the Interior Department, people who are running all of those spaces where you can go and see a Civil War memorial or something. The people who work in these places are terrified. They're afraid to tell the real history. The people who are working for the federal government are afraid to say the word Black. You guys have canceled Black scholarships. You're damn near, I guess, ready to get rid of HBCUs. Donald Trump just recently said they're not going to fund any minority serving institution. Y'all have gotten rid of that. You've gotten rid of help for Black kids to go to college. What more do you want? What are you so angry about? I go every so often, I go and lurk and look on X Twitter. Y'all are the maddest people ever. Y'all are so angry for people who have everything. Y'all said you want your country back. You have it. The rest of us are sitting back and trying to keep our peace and preserve our peace while you all are running the country. If the airlines are crashing, that's you. That's the people you wanted to run the United States government. The FBI, y'all are laughing at them on X Twitter and saying that they look ridiculous. That's your FBI. They've purged the people who made the FBI what it was. It's not what you wanted. You have your podcasters running the FBI. You have your friend from the real world running the Department of Transportation. That's what you wanted. There's no longer a gay guy there. The gay guy's gone. The gay guy's at home with his kid and his husband. He's not in charge anymore. The Department of Justice is what you wanted. It's your Justice Department that won't release the Epstein files. If you're mad about the Epstein files, you shouldn't be mad at me and the left. You need to be mad at Donald Trump. You all have the country. You run every red state like it's already Project 2025. You won't let women have abortions in Texas. They're literally dying of sepsis. That's what you wanted. You wanted women to have only 6 weeks to get an abortion in Georgia. You got it. You wanted Texas to be a petri dish and a laboratory for every right-wing, anti-Black, anti-gay, anti-trans idea. And you also got rid of vaccines. Every child in Florida is now going to go to school with kids who could give them measles, mumps, and rubella and COVID. That's what y'all wanted. Why are y'all so angry? You have the White House. You have both houses of Congress. You have a Supreme Court that is completely obedient to your president. They're willing to give him unlimited power. They're willing to say that he can take SEAL Team 6 and kill anybody he wants. They were willing to affirm that. They're willing to say that ICE can racially profile anybody they want. The United States Supreme Court has said you can racially profile Latinos based on their accent or the way they look.
Yeah. What's up with all the anger, man? Caption, it says, as usual, Joy Reid is on point. I love this sister. MSNBC and Massa can't mute her now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Joy Reid Show. It says, Joy Reid's viral video raises a poignant question. Why are MAGA supporters still angry despite their political wins? With control over the White House, Congress, and a conservative Supreme Court alongside policy victories like ending DEI and affirmative action, one might expect satisfaction. Yet, the anger persists. This phenomenon might be rooted in deeper identity and value-based resentments, as suggested by studies on rural consciousness. Trump's disavowal of Project 2025 during his campaign, despite its influence on his administration, adds another layer of complexity. Perhaps it's not just about policy, but about a longing for respect and validation that policy alone can't fulfill. Dun, dun, dun. So it's like no matter what, I mean, if you don't face the root causes of the anger, then you're going to still be angry. It's up to you to figure out what those real root causes are. All of these scapegoats, the immigrants, the LGBTQ, the Democrats, China, Venezuela, uh, Iran, scapegoats, scapegoats, scapegoats. What is
Why are y'all so angry?
really going on? Comments. It's just a bunch of you go girl. I don't see anything worth reading. Yeah.
There is another layer that you may not know about Epstein. A recent New York Times report revealed that Wall Street bank JP Morgan Chase had an extended business relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The bank reportedly opened 134 accounts and processed over $1 billion in transactions for Epstein. And they did it despite warnings by bank employees that doing so could enable Epstein's crimes. And JP Morgan wasn't the only big bank connected to Epstein. Deutsche Bank executives also ignored warnings from their employees and continued to do business with Epstein. Why? Well, they estimated that they could generate up to $4 million a year in revenue from the guy. The American people deserve to know how big banks may have enabled Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And that's why Democrats on the Senate Banking Committee are calling on Republicans to hold a hearing as soon as possible to hear from the executives of these big banks that worked with Epstein, including JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. Their testimony could help Congress ensure that something like this never happens again. So, Senate Republicans, what are you afraid of? Call the hearing.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen because even if it does, they're just going to dodge everything. They're not going to perjury. What am I trying to say? They're not going to lie on the stand in front of Congress. This is old news, really. There's multiple really in-depth articles covering this topic related to the banks. And, the banks, they disregarded their own rules to be able to do this. They had rules in place that they follow normally that they put to the side to be able to do this. It's all about money, right? Just making money. It's crazy because, the more money you have, the less the law pertains to you. What did they say? If you just have to pay a fine, then it's it's legal for a price, something like that. So yeah, that's the way the game goes. And yeah, these banks are shady. You have to call this money laundering, right? I mean, like, what else are they doing? You know, it's dirty money getting washed. It is what it is. Let's
There
see.
is another layer.
Comments. It says 134 accounts. Why so many? Is this recent or in the past? Come on, bro. Is it recent or in the past? Come on, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Epstein's been unalived for a good amount of time now, bro. So it's not recent. Come on, man. Another comment says, how much did those two banks give to Trump's campaign? Ooh, dun dun dun. Am I even up here for y'all? Okay. I can't see my home screen when I'm looking at this. It says, thank you, Elizabeth Warren, for your relentless investigations into corruption and abuse. Follow the money. Show me the money. It says, who paid him? That sounds like an awful lot of money. Yeah, I mean, human trafficking is pretty profitable. Huge cover up. Senator Warren, please stay safe. Wow, good to know and get the word out on this. Good question, Senator Warren. Figure out who owns these banks, then you will know who is complicit. See, that's where a lot of things get really, really muddy because you have the banks and the investment firms, and they all own each other. It's just a mosh posh of co-ownership, you know, trying to really determine, like, untangle that and figure it out, like, that is nearly impossible. You're just going to be going in a loop. People set up these what do they call them, shell corporations, you know, fake corporations. You know, they don't put stuff in their name. And even once you determine it, then they have these laws that separate the actual people. So then you could go after the corporation, but you won't be able to go after the people. That's something that really needs to be fixed, because people need to be held accountable. If a corporation dumps toxic waste in a river, and doing that saved them $1 billion, and then they get fined, I don't know, 100 million. Well, they just made 900 million. They're good with that. That's the same reason why I don't like the lawsuits that people always talk about. Like, when a person gets, wronged personally, and everyone's always like, oh, you should sue, da 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 da. Okay, well, that individual may win the lawsuit and they may get paid, but then the whatever situation that set up that led to that outcome isn't fixed, and it just goes on to the next person. These corporations, they have a budget for this stuff. They have a budget for these lawsuits. It's all a part of the game. It's the cost of doing business. you know you need to go after the root causes, and you need to arrest these people, lock them up. And that's a deterrent. A fine is not a deterrent. Paying a suit, losing a lawsuit, is not a deterrent unless that lawsuit is big enough to put them out of business. I don't see people winning $1 billion lawsuits. Some of these corporations, $1 billion is tissue money. It's office supplies. We're on our way to having trillionaires. What does any of that matter to a $1 trillion company? $1 billion? I think a lot of people don't really understand what $1 trillion. They don't even understand what $1 billion is. The average person. We can't even, our brain can't comprehend that money. $999 million plus another million. Now, $999 billion. Like, that is incomprehensible wealth right there. What do? You can't fight that. You can't fight someone who has $999 billion at their disposal. There's nothing you can do. That's the reason why these corporations need to be bust up, broken apart. We used to do that in this country. We had antitrust laws. I believe we still have a number of them on the books. They're just not enforced. Mergers happening left and right. Major conglomerates getting bigger and bigger. They're multinational conglomerates. They don't care about your nation. There's no loyalty to your nation, to your country, to the people. There's no loyalty. They're going to move where the profit is. They're going to move, it's like an organism. It becomes its own entity and it protects itself. So it's going to make decisions that protects itself. And once it gets that big, it's what can you do? Anywho. Yeah, man. Jimmy Kimmel. And I do not like this guy. He's not even funny. I didn't like this guy. Wasn't he on what was the name of that show back in the day? It was on MTV. It was about relationships or something, and they had the girls jumping on trampolines. That was entertaining because it was honest, you know. Had the other guy, he had a fallout with that guy. He was Doctor something, and they ended up falling out with each other. But there was a good little combination, and that show was actually funny. That was actually entertaining. But I don't know. These people get to fail upwards all the time. Like this dude, Jimmy Kimmel, the other guy, what's his name? Jimmy Fallon. I really like how he supports the roots and how he's a hip hop fan and all of that stuff. But he's like barely funny too. Like he's so robotic. Like, how do these people get to be in the position that they're in when they're not that good at what they do? Like, that's what sucks. This is America. These people get to fail upwards. Anyways, Jimmy Kimmel apparently is out of there. They are saying that this guy is done and they're canceling his show behind some comments he made about the assassination of the thing that we've all been talking about for like over a week now. I'm scared to say his name. Anyways, the stuff that he said, Jimmy Kimmel, didn't sound all that offensive to me. I mean, man, this whole thing is going way overboard. But Trump was coming after them since before. He said, I'm going to get y'all up out of here. And what's his name? The other night time, they already said they canceled his show. The guy who came from the Daily Show. I'm sucking that. I'm having brain fogs on names. It's the ADHD. It's the neurodivergence. I struggle with the names. I liked him a lot when he was on the Daily Show. Super funny. And when he had the Stephen Colbert, when he had the Colbert Report, that show was good too. And then he started doing the nightly show, and it was so watered down. He became a character, and it was hit or miss funny. And yeah, anyways, he got canceled. He's out of there. And it's like, so it's like, the cancel culture has flipped, right? So it's like, I don't know, these shows, they're considered to be on the left or whatever, pretty much all of them. And Donald Trump was like, man, we're gonna get these people up out of there, and he's doing it. He's dropping like flies. Jimmy Kimmel's the last one to go, latest one to go, rather. Says Jimmy Kimmel during the opening monologue of Monday night's show has suggested that Tyler Robinson, a man accused of killing Kirk last week at a Utah university, was aligned with President Donald Trump's MAGA, Make America Great Again movement. The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it, Kimmel said. So that was what he said that got him out of there. Man, I've heard much worse. I've heard much worse on the internet since this has happened. And that was enough to get him out of there? Crazy. Comments, it says, don't forget y'all MAGA says they aren't the snowflakes. Another comment says, I really like Jimmy Kimmel mocking the far right. Another comment, free speech unless I don't agree with it. You know, and there's a lot of people has been making the comments that Charlie Kirk would not have supported this type of backlash that has happened against free speech as a result of him not being here anymore. I think that's true. Another comment says, remember when people said Kirk shouldn't die for his political views? People shouldn't be fired for their political views either. Another one, it's like the First Amendment doesn't exist or something. Another comment that says, free speech is dying. Another one, okay, so they proved him right by firing him, proved his point further. Another comment, he didn't even say anything distasteful. Another comment, holy S. That was all he said. Those were the comments that got him canceled. Another comment, people keep mentioning free speech. This isn't a violation of free speech. It's cancel culture. If I own a business and one of my employees says something that doesn't represent the brand, I could fire them. This is simply the cancel culture the left has instituted turning against them. I mean, that is a way to look at this. You know, during COVID, they were going in, and then you had the Me Too thing that they were going in. They were going in. So this is what happens when you create these mechanisms, when you set up these situations, and then, you know, somebody else is able to pull the levers and boom, it's back on you. And that's one thing I think that we need to try to realize too with the ICE and with the Trump deploying troops and all of this. You know, one day he's going after the people that you don't like or you disagree with or want to be gone. And then the next day he's coming after you. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's the next administration. Another comment says, the woke right canceling people for their opinions. Cancel culture is strong at work, huh? Free speech for me, not for thee. I'm sure the comments are going to keep on going in that same direction. Fox News, it says, buying and controlling media platforms, firing commentators, canceling shows. These aren't coincidence. It's coordinated, and it's dangerous. The GOP does not believe in free speech. They are censoring you in real time. California Governor Gavin Newsom. This is Fox News posted this. Are they going with this? It says it's dangerous. California Governor Gavin Newsom claimed Republicans are censoring Americans after ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel's late night show for his comments on Charlie Kirk's assassination. What is Fox News' angle on this? Let's see the comments. So when Trump was taken off social platform, what was that? It was censorship. It, that's what it was. Other comment says, remember when we got fired from our jobs if we didn't get a COVID vaccine? Remember being fired or sued because we didn't call people by their fake names or pronouns? And all of that's true. I mean, but I don't know what our point is for this. Like, you know, it's like the other guy did it. So it's like if you get caught in a crime, you get caught for speeding, and you're like, that other car just came by going fast. Why are you arresting me? I didn't see that guy. I saw you. You sped, and I'm on you right now. So it's like pointing that finger like that. I don't know what that accomplishes. It doesn't. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying what does it accomplish? So you wasn't okay with it when they did it to the people that you agree with, but you are okay with it when they do it to people that you don't agree with. There's a problem there. There's a hypocrisy there. You should, if you're honest and true and care about justice, then you should not support it either way, regardless. Another comment, it says the left who murdered for free speech. Another comment, it says they literally had a sitting United States president kicked off of Twitter. Save the tears. I think there is something to be said related to, you inciting a riot or whatever. Like if you say something that, like you can't say bomb on a plane, it's like certain things, there should be consequences for the speech if it if it causes danger and imminent danger to people, or if it incites people to do violence. We need to face reality and stop it with the partisanship, It says, no, we love free speech. We also believe in facing the consequences for your words, actions that were completely uncalled for. See, now I can rock with that, because go ahead, allow the free speech, But if somebody comes up and punches you in your face behind something that you said, then hey, no harm, no foul. You know what I mean? Those are the consequences for what you said. I mean, you got free speech, but if somebody punches you in the face behind what you said, then no harm, no foul. Another comment says the GOP doesn't own these big media corporations. They are owned by liberals, and never has free speech meant freedom from consequences. FAFO. I don't know about the owned by liberals part. Another comment says the man that destroyed one of the most beautiful states in the country. It is so beautiful. California, man. The weather. Oh my God. I wish we had weather like that here. And the cold water in the ocean. Man. Nice, nice, nice. Very, very nice. Super expensive. Basically got to be rich. You're either rich or homeless in California. There's no middle ground. That's it. Another comment says, all of a sudden, the left doesn't like cancel culture. That seems quite hypocritical. Another one, oh, worry about your city and the mess you made there, princess. Another one, cancel culture sucks, doesn't it? Poor lefties, you'll survive. We did. So I guess that's why Fox posted this. They were trying to be messy. This guy shot a police officer like for no effing reason, apparently. And he was the clerk at the store. Like, this story is really strange. Like, I can't help but to think there's more to the story. The police officer was off duty. Police officer off duty, didn't have his weapon. And this guy came up behind him and he shot him like a lot of times, 24 times. freaking, this is a strange story right here. Like, I can't help but to think that had to be personal. Like, they're saying that he didn't know the guy or whatever, but there's got to be something to that. Like, someone comes up behind somebody and pops them 24 times, and you're at work in your uniform. Like, you know, you're not getting away with this. Like, that sounds personal. Heck, they had something personal going on. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Or the guy was like completely insane. It says gas station clerk allegedly shot off duty cop 24 times, then blamed it on having a bad day. Come on, bro. Like, I ain't buying that story. It says an evil gas station worker pumped 24 bullets in an off duty Florida police officer, then blamed it having a bad day. Authorities said as they charged him with murder, Edgewater police officer David Jewell, 45-year-old dad, was shot in the head multiple times at point blank range in a Circle K gas station in Ormond by the Sea on Monday afternoon. Volusia County Sheriff's officials said. Edgewater Police Department, Volusia Sheriff's Office. Multiple times in the head. And he shot him 24 times. So he emptied the clip on the guy. God. Comments that says, damn, he had an extendo on it. Prayers for any victims of violence. Yeah, what clip holds 24? Another comment that says, this is Florida and DeSantis will fry him. Yeah. The Trump meme, the penalty is death. So Block K. Absolutely devastating. Easy death penalty by shooting squad. That might actually happen, like literally just exactly like that. Possessed. Lord of mercy, may he rest in peace and grace. What the F? You're going to jail for life and then getting the firing squad. Sorry, the judge is having a bad day. You know, I wonder why people don't go into the why. Like, you know, it's just like they give you a simple explanation. He said he was having a bad day, so he must have been mentally ill, or the comment just said possessed or something. And you're okay with that. You're not willing to dig deeper than that. And it's like, what can we do in the future to keep from stuff like this happening? Like, we're not having that conversation. Comment says, you know, because just obviously the death penalty is not a deterrent. It's not working. Clearly, it's not. It says, LOL, that's not a defense anywhere. LOL, that's not a defense anywhere when the world or anywhere in history. That's 25 to life, but a lack of emotional regulation and self-control. Those who cannot control themselves do not belong in society. Another comment that says, he was a green card holder living in the U.S. for about 10 years, but this is another one of his family. Said he suffered from mental illness, should have never owned a weapon. He just didn't like the guy, he said. You know, mental health, that should be what we focus on, right? Like the guy who stabbed the lady on the train or whatever, like that story is so horrible. The Ukrainian chick, she was here as a refugee, and the dude just stabbed her in the neck for like no reason at all. Like, I don't know how do you protect yourself for something like that? That's crazy. And so yeah, that guy was homeless and had mental health issues. Even his family was like, yeah, this guy needed, help. Probably should have been institutionalized or on some kind of medication. So this is what happens when you fail people in society. We all suffer. That's the reason why, social programs that lift all boats is what we need to focus on, because same thing with the crime. If people aren't starving, then it's going to be less crimes. Real simple. If people are having their needs met, it's less crime. If you're dealing with mental health of the society as a whole, then there's going to be less crazy incidents like this. We have to care. We have to care about the others because it benefits us. It's, education is another example. You in traffic behind some complete idiot and you're angry about it, and I sympathize, but can we focus on education and getting everybody a basic education and have, how you drive in traffic as a, a part of the education, how to manage money as a part of the education, how to pay bills, the actual real history. We should have trains anyways. Everyone else is moving in that direction. Like we're stuck in the past. Like we love our cars. I don't know. The cars are never gonna actually go away. It's just that most of the traffic should be not there, and it wouldn't be if we had high speed trains, and we could do that. But we're too busy doing all of this other really silly stuff. Put the money into infrastructure. Put the money into social programs. Like, where's the money going to come from? Look how much y'all spending on sending troops into the cities and stuff. Look how much money you're spending on law enforcement. You wouldn't be spending all that money in law enforcement if it wasn't crime. It wouldn't be crime if people wasn't starving. Not as much, anyways. Call me crazy. There's data to support what I'm saying. Let's get to Kash Patel. They was grilling this dude. I might do these two at the end.
Right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're
inmates.
not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russia. In January 6th, you are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
These because it's a debater or whatever, and it's like obfuscating, and it's like personal attacks, and it's like, answer the question. What is going on? Like, you expect us to believe that? It's like, I'm not in the weeds about it, and what do you say, the Bureau of Prisons or whatever made the decision. Like, everybody knows that what happened. They had a meeting with her, and then soon after the meeting, she got moved to basically a prison resort. Come on now. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. We're not stupid. And regardless of Mr. Schiff's personal failings, let's say, that's beside the point right now. We're talking about this right now.
I'm not surprised that you can continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise.
You can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history.
Wait. Brought new charges to who? What are we talking about here? We're talking about the person that was arrested and in prison getting a freaking get out of jail free card.
33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Available that they released. It was already publicly available information.
You be quiet.
Right after she gives this.
So it says, it's CBS News. It says, FBI Director Kash Patel sparred with Democratic Senator Adam Schiff of California during his testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee when he was questioned about FBI terminations. An disgrace to the institution and an utter coward, Patel said during Tuesday's hearing, adding that you are a political buffoon at best. And it's, again, like, this is our political atmosphere. Instead of actually having, a substantive conversation, instead of actually staying on topic, focusing on the core of the topic and really, really having it out, we say stuff like this: disgrace the institution, utter coward, and those are the parts that the media is complicit in this, because CBS News, those are the parts that they pulled out. It's like that's the tea, right? They're being messy or whatever. You know what I mean? They're stirring the pot. What does that accomplish other than clicks, views, advertising dollars? I guess that's all that matters, right? Journalistic integrity, I'll be damned. Informing the public, I'll be damned. First comment says, why does CBS give Patel the last word here? What happened to CBS? They're all owned by the same people, y'all. And that's where we need to freaking wake up and realize, bro. But, it's changing. It's changing because a lot of people get their news from small, independent sources or whatever, which is a double-edged sword, because a lot of these people don't know anything they're talking about. Hey, me included. A lot of these people don't know anything about what they're talking about. So, it's a double-edged sword, but legacy media is definitely losing its hold on the people. The younger people probably don't watch CBS or MSNBC or Fox or any of that. My mom watches Fox religiously. Every time I go over to her house, like, Fox is on the TV. It's just playing in the background. It's like nobody's watching it, but it's on. I'll be watching it, because I'm into politics. So, like, we're having a conversation or we're talking about whatever, we're eating dinner or something like that, whatever it is, and it's just kind of on. And I'm looking at it, like, I'm reading the captions or whatever. Like, I can't help it. It just catches my eye, and I'm just like watching it. I'm analyzing it, media literacy. I took a couple of media literacy classes, and I mean, I was already aware of a lot of that stuff, but because I took those classes, I think about it every time. And it doesn't matter which kind of media I'm consuming. It makes me think about like framing, you know. I think about perspective, I think about what is the goal? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to accomplish? So yeah, it's a conglomerate. They're all owned by the same people. You know, we're not getting real what like a robust discourse. It's more of a narrative, a script. It's a dance. It's a song. It's a game. It's it's what they want. But those few people that have the levers, what they want to be out there, or what they allow. I think that's a better word. Allow what they allow. The stuff that they don't want out there, it's not gonna see the light of day, bro. If it does, it gets buried. It's crazy how, because that's the way you do it, like how they do certain news stories, and they just keep on going. Like the one I mentioned earlier with the lady on the train, they kept on covering that story. They're still steadily repeating it. Like that, a story like that fits the narrative that they want to portray. One of the narratives that they want to portray. Like it's the innocent young white girl, the crazy black brute, homeless person, you know, it's the perfect victim and it's the perfect villain. So we're gonna play this over and over and over again. It justifies the stuff that we do, like demonizing homeless people, criminalizing homelessness and poverty, criminalizing mental health, obscuring, like pushing these people to the peripheral. I can't talk right now. Periphery, you know, the edges of society, like hopefully pushing them completely out. You know, uh, it's not lost on me that it was a black man also. Perfect story. So this one is rips apart FBI Director Kash Patel for his incompetence. Like again, everything has a narrative, everything has a perspective, everything is coming from a point of view or whatever. And
Before you can,
it's like on the internet nowadays, everybody has to be owned or ripped apart, or it has happened. I've been making videos. It's been like 3 years I've been doing this thing. And there was a time where I was real heavy in the analytics. I still look at the analytics, but there was a time where I really was freaking in it. And the way that they make the titles and the thumbnails and all of that. So yeah, I think that a big part of the reason why it has become a part of our lexicon, the way we speak when we talk about being owned or ripped apart or whatever. I can't think of any other examples right now because my brain is just fogging, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyways, those are the words, those catch phrases that they use in titles, right? It's clickbait in a lot of cases, like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe this, or it's all coming to an end, uh, stuff like that. And anyways, damn it, I lost what I was trying to say. Well, it gives you an idea of their narrative or their perspective or their what they're trying to do or whatever. I'm not explaining that right.
Can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs. You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there. Even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing, except for the apprentice or whatever you want to call him. Before you can get the FBI.
I wouldn't say she ripped him up. Really, I was putting a lot of this together really quickly. I was at work. Anyways, yeah, I wouldn't say she ripped him apart. This and a lot of people aren't. There's other things that she could have said because this dude is fumbling. He's fumbling all of this. Like they came out with way too much information too fast, and then it came out to not be true. You know, that is not what you do in any case. But in something that's being so, big like this and everyone is watching it so close, that's when you should be even more cautious about letting out information. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. The first person that said he was passed away, no longer alive, was Donald Trump. I was where was I? I was at work when this was happening, and I had time, and I was scrolling, and I kept going to the restroom. You know what I mean? I was working too. Don't judge me, but I was I was really looking at it, and the first person that said that he was deceased was Donald Trump. Now, and that struck me. I was like, that's weird. Like nobody else had at that time. No one had said that he had passed away. All of the reports was he was hit and he was taken to the hospital in critical condition. All of them said that. Even though we all saw the video, I'm like other people. When I first saw it, I thought it was a fake video. I thought it was AI. And I literally didn't believe it. And I just kept scrolling. And then, the video kept playing for one. That stuff was viral. We're all traumatized as a result of it. Along with the bodies of the babies that we've been looking at blown apart, that's going down my timeline. It has been for what? It seems like ever now. But yeah, Donald Trump was the first one to say that he had passed away. And that struck me right away as strange because no one else had verified it. I'm not talking about no conspiracy right now. I'm talking about the way this situation was handled. That's not what you do. That's not what you do. It is like if y'all knew he had passed away. I mean, I guess in those situations they always kind of hold it for a while. Yeah. Trump shouldn't have said nothing, even if he knew. He shouldn't have said nothing. You let it come out the way it's supposed to. You let it come out the way it's supposed to. The maybe the family or something. You know what I mean? Like have some respect. But I'm not talking about the respect part. I'm just saying that the way it happened was not correct. And it shows that somebody is effing up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not blaming Trump on that. You know, for some reason, I guess he got a call or whatever. Someone informed him that, yeah, yo, buddy's gone. And then he said it. So, I mean, if there's an organization and y'all are you're supposed to be controlling information, then that shouldn't have happened. Couple comments that says, well, the caption says Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett torches FBI Director Kash Patel after he celebrated a failed investigation. Like, bruh, what did you do? Actually, another comment says Jasmine always has the fight in her. She's awesome. Another one, The Apprentice, or whatever you want to call him, love it. Yeah, she's really like theatrical is a word. You know, she be putting on a show, the way she be talking and stuff like that. And I don't be liking that all the time, even though, you know, I do it too. Hey, hypocrite alert. But then too, I'm not a congressman. I'm not a congresswoman. So I don't like it when she's doing the whole, you know, Ebonics thing or whatever, like the cultural speak, even though we do talk like that. You know, even the people who are, you know, educated like she is, you know. What was the name of that movie where the guy had to learn how to talk white, quote unquote, so that he could sell? And he blew up in the company, got promoted, started making money. It started off, he was poor. He was living in the garage with his girlfriend. And he got that job, and he met the dude at the job, and the dude told him, you got to talk white. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. I can't even think of the name of it. Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that some people have the ability to, you know, switch that on and switch that off, depending on the crowd or whatever. Sometimes we'll have multiple dialects, not just, you know, two. There's at least three. There's at least three. But I don't like that she does it because she's a congresswoman, and it gives them something to freaking go at her about. So I don't like that. It makes her come across as not intelligent. Another comment that says, I love how she's bouncing in her seat with excitement at calling him out. I don't know where I have more full or clips. I don't know if I shared them. It says, this is our version of royalty. So strong, smart. The Go Girl comments. You go, girl. You go, girl. Slay queen.
Have you looked at all the photos in Epstein files?
I have looked at all the information that the investigators who in the case have provided to run out credible leads.
And in the Epstein file, was there that creepy birth essay Donald Trump had written to Epstein?
But that's what I was trying to tell you. You raised a great point. Jeffrey Epstein has a voluminous amount of information that they have not released before.
Okay, so that's great. So wouldn't it be great if FBI subpoenaed the estate of Jeffrey Epstein for all that information?
The estate is under no obligation to provide that material, even pursuant to a subpoena. That's a
What? What do you mean? Does that mean that they made some kind of deal previously or something? How does that work? Because as far as I understand, if you have a subpoena, if you have what is it? Goes with an indictment or whatever. When you have a subpoena, like, you're legally obligated to come off of that stuff or face incarceration, right? So maybe it's because the state, there's not a person, right, to incarcerate, because it's the state. There goes them damn loops that get that stuff out of there. Get that out of there. Remove that red tape. Remove that barrier. Fix that issue.
A great point.
Yeah, that's just false.
Okay.
That's just false. You're the frickin' FBI. You can subpoena information from the state, and you better do scene files.
I have looked at all the
Going in. Hold on, let's play it again. Because his answer right here for the first question automatically, look how he's looking to the side. You know, he's looking to the left. What is it they say? You look to the left, up and to the left when you're lying, or whatever. He's definitely trying to fill in this information, and then he not fill in. What am I trying to say? It's like, what is the predetermined response to this particular question? What am I supposed to say here? Insert comment here. You know,
information that the investigators who investigated this case have provided to run out credible leads.
And in the Epstein file, was there that creepy birthday message that Donald
it's so funny.
Trump had written?
I'm gonna play that.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you. You raise a great point. The estate of Jeffrey Epstein has a voluminous amount of information that they have not released before.
Okay, so that's great. So wouldn't it be great if FBI subpoenaed the estate of Jeffrey Epstein for all that information?
The estate is under no obligation to provide that material, even pursuant to a subpoena. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's just false.
Okay.
That's just false. You're the frickin' FBI. You can subpoena the information from the estate, and you better do that. Have you looked at all the photos in the Epstein file?
Okay, let's listen to his comment. Have you looked at all the photos in the Epstein files? Is that what he said?
I have looked at all the information that the investigators who investigated this case have provided to run out credible leads.
And in that,
the answer is hilarious. Yeah, you looked at all the photos. True. The information that they gave me, yeah, I looked at that. Credible leads. I bet you if he asked the question again, he would have answered like exactly the same.
So let me just be precise, and I asked for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI
yes no?
employees are only
question.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no, because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media narrative.
I'm not setting up a trap,
and I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
So let me just be precise, and I asked for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
Yes.
Yeah, we know that happened. But they do like to do that. He's right to say, I don't have to answer your question yes or no or whatever, because it's always a got you, and it'll be used as a clip. Well, it already happened. So he didn't avoid that, but he's right to answer in that way, to keep them from just giving them that straight clip like that. But at the same time, they've been purging. When Trump came in there, he a lot of federal employees. He's on his revenge tour. Everybody that came at him, what is it from Paid in Full? He said, what did he say? They got my little man beat. Everybody that owed me money. Everybody beat. I'm on some crash out beat. Yeah. Trump is on a revenge tour and he purged anybody that was connected as much as he could. And I think he's not finished. But yeah, he didn't forget. He didn't forget. And anybody that was on the other side related to y'all, all y'all gotta go. All y'all, not only do y'all gotta go, but I'm coming at you like I want to hurt you. You know, if I can hurt you financially, or if I can hurt your reputation, or if I can get you locked up, you know, getting fired is just the beginning. You're not playing with these people. But then a lot of people caught strays, you know. I was making we was in the group chat. The NLRB, the CFPB, they didn't, as far as I know, you know, they were just helping people and they didn't come after Donald Trump. You had all the people at Social Security, you know, many other we could go down, there's a long list of federal organizations that got purged. And a lot of them didn't have nothing to do with coming after Trump. But the ones that did come after Trump, he was coming after them. But he has weakened the system really, really dramatically. You know, and that's a reality. And that's another thing that's driving these unemployment numbers. I don't know why nobody's adding that together. Like, that's another thing about the narrative in the media, whatever. The way that they, you know, do stories about this and don't do stories about that, because the story about the jobs numbers coming out and Trump not liking them and then firing the person that came out with the numbers. Numbers come out again. What they say, 900,000 new jobs 900,000 new jobs and well under the projected amount. And the Fed just cut the rate, 0.5%. The grocery prices and what am I trying to say? The jobs, the unemployment rate, like over 5%. What is it? It rose to like, I don't want to say the wrong numbers. The unemployment rate is up. It's not in a good range. And why isn't the media making a connection between all of the people that got laid off and fired from the federal government? You know, I could do a whole show about that, because that situation really goes deep, because you got to look at historically, and it's a lot of black and brown people that work those jobs, and women. What they would call minorities or disenfranchised communities or whatever work those jobs. So there's a lot in that, but I don't want to go on a tangent. Kash Patel's claim that he fired FBI agents for voting their oath of office is a blatant cover-up. The 3 senior officers officials can't see. The 3 removed for misconduct. Lawsuits revealed Patel admitted were likely illegal, yet carried them out to stay in Trump's good graces. Yeah, and what was the clip? Cory Booker, and he was talking to Kash, man, Trump's going to get rid of you, and that could very well happen. And that could have been the plan from the jump. Really, really shady. Politics is shady, shady, shady. So if they was planning on putting this dude up there just to use him as a scapegoat and blame, it's just how the dominoes fell, how the cookies crumble, just how it happened. But yeah, I could see that them, because this whole thing with the shooting and other things, the Epstein thing, they might just pin all that on him and then just fire him and say, it was that dude, bro. We good now. We got him out of here. Another comment that says he evades and lies on the stand every time he opens his mouth. He's actually skilled to be in that room when it comes to that. Everybody in that room does that. Another comment says, release the Trumpstein files. Another one, truth and failure to answer questions in the court of law should be considered treasonous. This is insane. No one ever answers yes or no questions. They always, I was saying earlier, the yes and no answers, they turn into sound bites and they get twisted out of context and used, and they turn into reels. So can't blame them for not wanting to be on a reel. It says, I think I've watched another one. Bro is pesky, failing to uphold the standards of the FBI, the director of the FBI. As the director said, bro is pesky, failing to uphold the standards of the FBI as the director of the FBI. But I get you. I'm following it. Another comment says, does he know the standard of the FBI? Another one, the answer is yes. I agree. The answer is yes to what he was asking him. But I also understand why he didn't answer yes. And even if it was like a situation that he could go ahead and be clean about it, he still wouldn't just straight up answer yes or no, because that's going to be a soundbite. So, I mean, it is what it is. What y'all think? We gotta get past the partisan stuff and just look at the truth. You might like his politics, but is he really qualified for the position that he's working? If you want to take all the teeth out of the FBI and basically make them a shell of a organization.
Never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working on.
Wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial? What are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said,
we're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law and a federal judge's order.
Why you follow your word?
Have gone court, everything we direct
control over. You said everything
release, we're releasing.
Much more has come out in the days since the American people and Congress have been demanding it, but it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you there are multiple federal court orders. You release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
Let's talk about the witness interviews, 302s of witness interviews. Those are not subject to the court order. Those are not subject to any fictional sealed order for a search warrant. Why aren't you releasing those with the how is that not part of the cover-up?
And let me make something.
Yeah. It says Democratic lawmaker continue to grill FBI Director Kash Patel for answers regarding Jeffrey Epstein files. Why don't you just release the entire files as you promised to do? Representative Jamie Raskin pushed. Yeah. The victim said they're getting together and they're gonna release information on their own, the stuff that they know. Again, that could be a bombshell because we got these internet sleuths and they're really good. And if the victims release information that's detailed enough, then the internet sleuths are gonna go to work and they're gonna put the pieces together. True, if the stuff that they're saying is true, it's gonna line up with public information. If that makes any sense. So yeah, they said that they was gonna do that. I haven't heard anything else about it. Maybe they're just trying to monetize and it'll turn into a docu-series or something and it'll just be all durable. But everybody's gonna watch it and it's gonna make a whole bunch of. But yeah, man, we know that they got information. We know that they got information that they're holding on this topic. There's not, without a doubt. And people, the powerful people, they don't want, and that's the thing, like they don't respect us. They don't respect us if they don't want us to know the truth. If they're they're hiding things from us, they think we're stupid and just give us BS ass stories, and we think we're supposed to just eat it up. We're supposed to accept that, and that's what gets people angry, and that's the reason why people are angry. They personally, I'm freaking exhausted of all of the BS. I'm tired of all the BS, man. I'm tired of all the partisan politics. I'm sick of it. The American people, the United States people, you could say American people too, they mostly agree on stuff like the cultural and even on the cultural stuff, most people agree overall. I think way more than they disagree. And the wedge isn't as wide as you would think. Now there are some groups or some people that's not going to move on those culture issues. They are where they are, and they're not moving. and they're not going to see eye to eye. And that's the reason why they use those, because they're a very useful tool to divide and conquer. Go on the economics side, you know what I mean? There, left and the right line up. Almost identical, like it's, you know, they like to say left, right, and center. This is not a center, this is a whole. This is like all. This is like 90% of the people in these two groups line up. But see, that's the reason why the conversations never go that way. And yeah, man, I freaking agree with that. Right on, brother. So then they get us, and it's like, you know, the Methodists don't like the Baptists, you know, the Catholics don't like nobody, you know. Like they put themselves in timeout. You got the evangelicals, you know, 7-day Adventists. I might be saying that wrong. Anyways, every other thing, you know, where one, you know, the dominant forces within Islam, on the religious side, on the, you know, you got the ones that's like Ramadan starts on this day, and the other ones are like, no, Ramadan starts on this day. You know, it's we're right because we followed the such and such and such. And the other side is no, we're right because we followed the such and such and such. Okay, there's always going to be that, but that's that tool that they use. Like I'm saying, on way more than we disagree on. And for the stuff that matters to us in our lives the most, everybody just want to, you know, have a regular life, some amount of autonomy and sovereignty and safety and security, you know, and it's really simple. And so we mostly all agree. And if we just come together on those things that we do agree about, the things that we do agree on, and otherwise we can't. And that's the reason why the powers that be keep us on each other about, you know, do you eat breakfast or whatever, or how much protein do you eat? Like something so silly, like really, really silly stuff that don't matter. I ain't gonna say they don't matter. They matter. It's just that the stuff that really, really matters is we're it's like a magic trick. They make us look away from what really matters and make us look at some comment. It doesn't help the economy or the other issues we have. I'm just curious because I really don't know what the next step is supposed to be if the files are released. Well, the next step is to prosecute people that, you know, did these crimes, and justice matters. On the other hand, I do feel this comment. We got bigger fish to fry is my thing. I'm totally with holding these people accountable, but we do have bigger fries. So it's like we're focusing on, there goes it's just like what I was saying about, it matters. It does matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. It's just that we got like a really big other thing over here that really, 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 really matters. The people are held accountable for those crimes. And I believe in justice. Do not get me wrong. And if you're a survivor or somehow was affected by the situation, then seeing them being held accountable will really, or you're a family member of someone who's then your life. But you're gonna go on with your day. Walk and chew bubble gum. But this is some other stuff we need to be focusing on. The comment says, it's so embarrassing what passes for qualified among Republicans. What is this? 3 bodies found in Houston bayous this week. The conspiracy theories related to the murder is going to keep on growing and getting bigger. It's going to be like 9/11. What I mean by comparing it to 9/11 is like, it's just the conspiracy theories are going to go on forever. They're never going to end. And we maybe never really find out the truth. You don't really help. You're just muddying the water, man. If you don't have some solid information, then you're just muddying the water. Is this the one we looked at?
Oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this FBI director in the history of the FBI. That is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that, man, there has been.
What is that outfit she got on? She's looking like Michael Jackson. Representative Judge McCarthy, the least qualified FBI director in history of the FBI. The only one that never served with the FBI. How do you get that job? How does that happen? How do you get that job, man? You go, girl, comments.
Before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public.
And they brought out the receipts on them, bro. Whenever you've been videoed, you have a lot of You know, you've been in front of the screen for a long time, bro. They can go find. Try to stay consistent.
You can see this clip.
Boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's.
That's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control.
Bro, they put the noose. They're tightening the noose.
So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the black book, has been released.
Oh, no, you're talking about what the journalist got 5 years ago? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you were talking about there.
That's
the black
exactly
book
what I
under
was
the
talking
direct control of the FBI director.
We have released more material than anyone.
Oh, there you go. We're not talking about more material, bro. We're not talking about more material, bro. We're talking about a specific thing, bro.
Else before. The Biden administration, Obama administration had the exact opportunities to release this material and they never did. And if you are
we're not talking about Joe Biden. We're not talking about none of that. We're talking about you right now. Okay, they didn't release it, whatever that they had, whatever happened over there. What about this right here, right now? Like,
calling the men and women of the FBI,
Why
we're
have
not
you
going after
changed your
child
position?
predators. Hang on, you said we're not going after child predators. 1,500 child predators arrested this year.
Did they give him a little note? I saw the little note they passed him, and he was kind of reading it while they was playing the videos. So somebody gave him some help on this one. He was like, man, they trying to get you right here, bro. Be careful.
35% increase.
I'll reclaim my time.
4,700 child victims.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reclaim my time if you
That's probably what's on the papers, those stats and stuff.
could instruct the witness. Why have you changed your position? There you were saying it's under the direct control of the FBI director and all of it should be released. Why have you changed your
Everything
position?
that has been lawfully permitted to be released.
He keeps on saying that. That's his line.
Has been released. And as I told you,
Really?
the investigation was limited. And let me make something crystal clear. I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8.
Well, do a new case, bro. Like, isn't that what you do? Bring new charges. Let's say all of that, what you're saying is true. Okay, bring new charges. There's other victims. Okay, then there you got witnesses. Bring new charges. There's got to be more people involved in this.
And the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working with.
Well, wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to
Which
release.
court are you talking about?
3
Oh my God, broken record.
separate federal courts have come in and said.
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any
We're talking
idea
about
how the
evidence.
law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to
satisfy
follow your own
curiosity?
word, Director Patel, before you join the FBI.
Yeah, so the clip we played earlier, I guess, was the end of that. This one was more of it. Comment. This is from MSNBC. I want you to follow your own word, Director Patel. Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat, Maryland, confronts FBI Director Kash Patel with his own past comments, calling for the full release of Epstein files before he was appointed to lead the FBI. He was sworn in as director more than 20 days ago. Now the black book is under your control. So why haven't you released the names of the Epstein co-conspirators? Yeah, man, they got them older videos of you, like, Bro, you are the person that you was talking about in those videos. You're in that position now. So what up, bro? What's popping? What's happening, Captain? What's good on the street? What's hot? What's hot on the street? What's the scoop? What's the tea? We released all the information that we could legally release. Yeah, that sound good, right? That sound good. Yeah, that sound good. Go with that. Comment. It says a person who went to Pace University Law School ranked number 141 just asked someone from the Harvard Law School if they know how the law works. Incredible. That's that elite shit. That doesn't impress me. He won't even look at him. I love receipts. Another one. This was selling your soul for power looks like. Another comment. Love Representative Raskin. Another one. Patel can't even look up, not once, as all the evidence was being presented in his own words. Embarrassing for him. It wasn't that he wasn't looking up. He had like a little note they had passed him. He was reading it. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. Representative Jamie Raskin certainly brings the receipts. Jamie Raskin is a constitutional law genius. LOL came with the receipts. I feel everyone should do this when they question anyone from the Trump administration. Yeah, his strategy in the questioning was perfect. Chef's kiss. Definitely. So maybe it is something to the comment earlier where they was talking about Harvard versus 123 law school, whatever. Anyways, the way he came with them, it was like the rope was coming down and slowly got down. It went around the neck and then it tightened and tightened a little bit more. And tightened a little bit more. He couldn't dance around it because of the way it was the questioning. It was perfect. How can I get out of here?
Dylan Roof, who followed white supremacist propaganda, murdered 9 Black parishioners in Charleston in 2015. Do you deny this?
I'm sorry. Dylan Ruth? Roof, can you give me some more information?
You're head of the FBI, you probably know this. If you don't know, that's fine.
You can give me a reminder. I've got a lot.
Bro, that was like one of the biggest cases. And he was a podcaster. There's no way, bro. There's no freaking way, bro. There's no way you don't know what she's talking about. That case was so big.
A lot in front of me.
It was national news. Dylan Roof, who followed white supremacist propaganda, murder.
Oh, that's all. That's all for the clip. Really American. I'm not sure about this particular site. Breaking in a bizarre moment, FBI Director Kash Patel asked about the infamous Dylan Roof church shooting of 9 Black parishioners, to which he replied, "I'm sorry, Dylan Roof, can you give me more information?" Maybe he really just didn't know. Still, that's not a good look. You can't expect him to know every story, but regardless, that's not a good look. Comment says, head of the FBI doesn't know who Dylan Roof is. Secretary of Education doesn't know who Ruby Bridges is, or Tulsa Massacre. RFK Jr. can't even keep up with his own health conspiracies. You have a defense secretary that can't even name who we have defense treaties with and has no experience with auditing, but he oversees a $900 billion budget. Also a Homeland Security Secretary who doesn't even know what habeas corpus is, but yet they want to kick and scream about people getting jobs that they think don't deserve it or are inexperienced. LOL. Okay, this is a sensitive topic. Yes, failing upwards. White, entitled, and incompetent. Freaking Marie Daniel Favors. That's her. That's who popularized that in my mind, anyways. White, entitled, and incompetent. WEI. And hey, people are going to be upset about it. It's not necessarily a racial thing. It's just kind of like a reality. Like I say, man, we got to face realities if we're going to move forward in the world. And we can talk about some things that aren't good with other communities. But right now, it's a bunch of incompetent ass people. Now, that's the problem, okay? Like, just because you agree with their politics doesn't mean that they're competent. And we got to be able to separate that kind of stuff. Comment says, I have a lot going on, mostly drama created by you and yours, so inept. Yeah, that's a cop-out answer. Did he say that? Another comment, I've got a lot going on, trying to keep the Epstein files cover up there, fixed it. Another one, he's not qualified to cover a shift at Chuck E. Cheese. That's harsh. Another one, it says he's not read that. All of these memes, I like them when I'm scrolling, but they're not good in these situations. It says the so-called president doesn't know how many states there are or how many Americans, or that stealth planes are not literally invisible. I chopped that up. The so-called president doesn't know how many states there are or how many Americans, or that stealth planes are not literally invisible. Yeah, too many memes in the way. Is there another one of these? We're gonna get out of here. I was gonna do a whole thing on Tucker Carlson because his comments are going viral, and Candace Owens is too. I might cover them two together. I don't know. I'm not gonna make no promises.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. This is the Attorney General of the United States, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States, telling you that there's this other category called hate speech. And of course, the implication is that's a crime. There's almost no sentence that Charlie Kirk, and I'm not running the risk of appropriating his memory for my own ends by saying this, it's provable. There's no sentence that Charlie Kirk would have objected to more than that. And you've got to think the Attorney General didn't think it through and was not attempting to desecrate the memory of the person she was purporting to celebrate, that she just threw that out there, that she hadn't thought about it. You hope that. You hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society that was the opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if it is, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever. And there never will be. Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes, not to hurt other people, but to express his views. And by the way, that thinking, and not to pile on the Attorney General, who's a very nice person, but that thinking that she just articulated on camera there is exactly what got us to a place where some huge and horrifying percentage of young people think it's okay to shoot people you disagree with, to kill Nazis for saying things they don't like. Why do they believe that? How did we get here? Is it the video games? Is it the SSRIs? Yeah, probably. But what it really is 12 and then 16 years of indoctrination in our schools at the hands of people who tell them that, who say exactly what the Attorney General just said. Well, there's free speech, which of course we all acknowledge is important, so important. But then there's this thing called hate speech. Hate speech, of course, is any speech that the people in power hate, but they don't define it that way. They define it as speech that hurts people, speech that is tantamount to violence. And we punish violence, don't we? Of course we do. They've been taught that every year of their lives. And so naturally, most of them believe it. So when Charles...
Wait, I have to jump in on that one because there is speech that hurts people. Now, I agree with Tucker's overall argument here. I just had to jump in there on that part because there's a line that can be crossed that actually leads to harm for people. And therefore, it's just that his argument is fair. You don't want the government or, authoritative, what am I trying to say? You don't want people to determine that because they're going to always make it's going to be based on their perspective. And that's against you. That's like controlling, like what he's saying, that's not freedom. I can tell you what you can say and what you can't say. But again, you can't say bomb on a plane, there's things that you can't say because it can lead to harm, so then I guess the best way to do that is to kind of write those things down. But we know it though. You know what? Let me take that back. We know what not to say, that you can't say that's gonna cause harm for people. If you're an influential figure or you're in a position of authority, let's just say that, because it can go all the way down to like a police officer or a teacher. If you're in a position of authority and you tell your subordinates to go, I don't know, kill their neighbor or something, then isn't that what you can't handle the truth? Isn't that what that movie was all about? Right? What do you say? I sit on that hill while y'all living your comfortable lives or whatever. Did you order the cold red? Yes. I ordered the cold red. And he went to jail. He was a general. So, yeah, some speech is criminal.
Charlie Kirk is shot in the throat with a 30-06 on camera. I doubt very many young Americans want to see something like that or actually applaud the death of a man, a father, a husband. But they've been told for their entire lives in schools exactly what Pam Bondi just told them. Well, there's free speech, but then there's also hate speech, and woe to those who engage in it because it's a crime. There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. This is the Attorney General of the United States, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States, telling you that there is this other category called hate speech.
Yeah. And the other part I don't like is the attack on education. All these people got Ivy League educations. That's one thing that's so ironic. Hey, the education system, the universities, they're brainwashing the kids or whatever. Meanwhile, the mom's got master's degree, dad's got a PhD, maybe, brother's got a master's, sister's got a master's, the daughter has a bachelor's, son has a bachelor's, the whole family, all of them, everybody, and that's what's crazy. The restaurant I work at, it's people pretty comfortable. They go there to eat. And they all have degrees. I'll be chopping it up with them. They all have degrees. And a lot of these people, I have to be careful what I say, but a number of these people got, inherited wealth. It's old money, and they have degrees. They have degrees. And all of the media, all of the news, it seems like the narrative, the online narrative is, it's a waste of money to go to college. They're indoctrinating you. You're going to end up in debt. You're not going to get a job anyways. You know, you could just make money now. You can go get a trade, and trades are good. You know, everything ain't for everybody though. So there's that. And not everybody want to do that kind of work with their hands or whatever. That's not for everybody. Anyways, the narrative online is like that. But meanwhile, like I say, these wealthy folks, people that were inherited wealth, because see, the people that go to school is like, you're going to go to school to get a job so that you can make some money. But, well, then why are these wealthy people going to get degrees? Advanced degrees, master's degrees, PhDs. They're getting master's degrees. They're spending a good amount of their life, you know, going to classes, doing classes. You know what I mean? They don't have to do that. They're already good. So then why are they doing that then? There must be some value to it, even beyond the monetary way of looking at it, like just trying to go make money or whatever. So that's the thing, man. And I'm seeing it. I see through it. You know. Education is not about just it's about being able to move around in the world. And that's something that money can't buy you necessarily. You can grease the wheels. You can definitely do that. But to be able to really move around in the world, when I say that, is what I mean is like being able to take advantage of the world, not in a negative term. What I mean is be able to, what am I trying to say? It's like the Matrix, you know, being able to see the lines in the code so you can actually have some sovereignty and have some freedom, like actually live, like actually be alive, you know? So it's quality of life is what it increases regardless. And you know, they don't want y'all to go to school because they want you to be their employees, you know, and they want to be able to pay you as little as they can so they can make as much profit as they can. They're planning on you being the employee of their sons and daughters. You're going to go work for them. So they're going to get an education. Their kid's going to get an education. And you are going to be the worker. And there's no need for you to get an education. You'll be fine. Education is key. It's more to it. It's the habits that you develop, and it's the community that you build, the people that you meet, the connections you make. I could go on and on, bro. Don't let them lie to you. And you don't have to go to an organized university. And I have to say this all the time because you can educate yourself in other ways. And I'm not talking about them freaking master classes that they're selling you online. You're getting ripped off. You could read. You could just go to the library. You've seen the movie Matilda, the little girl, horrible family, terrible family. And from a young age, she just started going to the library, man, chewing up them books. And what is the other one? It's like Beautiful Mind. Who was that? I want to say that's Brad Pitt, but I don't think that was Brad Pitt. And he was talking to the dude, and the dude went to Harvard, and the other guy, the main character, he was kind of his life was a mess. And then he was like, man, you could have just went to the library and got that book and read it. Because he was quoting a line out of a book, and the other guy knew which book he was reading from, which page number it was. and the full quote. And he was like, you could have just went to the library. So yeah, not all of us are able to motivate ourselves in that way, and that's okay. That's totally okay, you know. And not all of us have the funds to, or the mobility or opportunity to go to school. But get some books, look stuff up. There's a lot you can look up. There's PDF. Put in PDF, whatever topic it is you're trying to read on, and you know, you have to put some effort into it. You know, start figuring out what books you're looking for. Listen to people give you ideas on books to look up, because there's a lot of stuff, articles, books, historical records, random stuff you can look at. And yeah, just type it in and hit PDF, and maybe you'll find something. Otherwise, the library, or just collecting books. I have a bunch of books. One of these days I'm gonna put the bookshelf up. I've been meaning to do that. I don't have a bookshelf. Well, I have one that the books are in, but I don't have one that'll fit in here, that'll work for with the camera and all of that. So I need to do that. But yeah, just find some books, just collect them, random books, man. I used to read encyclopedias when I was a kid. My dad bought me the full set of encyclopedias, and I was bored. And I started at A. I never made it to Z, but I read. I was just a nerd as a kid. I didn't like fiction. I think I was a teenager before I ever started reading fiction. But before that, I just read nonfiction books, like historical stuff, encyclopedia, religious texts like the Bible and the Quran. Front to back, I read both of them, back cover to cover. And anyways, I was a teenager and I got into science fiction and horror fiction, stuff like that. Anyways, it don't matter what kind of thing you're reading too. That's what I say about people, because you can learn from nonfiction books. That's what I learned when I got older, though. I realized it. Agoraphobia is a word, and I completely understood it because of a book that I read, and the book was a horror fiction book. But it didn't just define agoraphobia. It illustrated it so that you could really understand what it meant and what it was, and the effect that it has on people's lives. And this was out of a horror fiction book, so like I'm saying, you can learn from everything. Agoraphobia is a fear of like outside places. Like these people end up stuck in their house and they have really high anxiety, and meds don't work, and they just have complete meltdowns when they go outside. Go outside of their safety space, because I think some of these people, if they have like patios or something, they're okay with that. But leaving outside of their home, leaving outside of their apartment just scares the crap out of them. They just can't do it. So they end up, I guess it's easier for people like that now because we have Grubhub and what is all of these delivery apps, and you got Amazon and everything. So just work from home. Hopefully, that's pretty much the only option they got, and that's their life. Unfortunately, I need to get out of here. We gonna do Obama's extremism and the charges for old buddy the shooting. Do I want to do these? We're gonna end with Obama. Start talking about that shooting.
And so when I hear not just our current president, but his aides, who have a history of calling political opponents vermin, enemies, who need to be targeted, that speaks to a broader problem that we have right now.
His cadence is very deliberate. It's musical. It's like a song or a sermon, and it's very effective. He's really good at that. That's his thing, bro. Like that's something you can't deny. So it's kind of hypnotizing.
And something that we're going to have to grapple with, all of us, whether we're Democrats, Republicans, independents. We have to recognize that on both sides, undoubtedly there are people who are extremists and who say things that are contrary to what I believe are America's core values. But I will say that those extreme views were not in my White House. I wasn't embracing them.
I don't understand the point really in that, that's a problem with the politics. It's always that finger pointing stuff, and I don't see a benefit coming out of that. It's like an ego trip or whatever. I mean, whether it's true or not is beside the point. Like, how does that help us right now? You saying that it wasn't the year of White House. Okay, whatever. And I guess it's because that's what's been online. And I don't know why. They always love to throw Obama in it. I was a fan of Obama at the beginning, but the more I learned, the more I was like, man. And as time has gone by, I've got to the point where I realized that Obama is a war criminal. And many other things. We can really go down the list. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah, he said it wasn't his White House. Maybe it wasn't. But what is the point? How does that help us now? Why are we wasting time on that? Just leave that out the conversation. It's not adding to anything.
I wasn't empowering them. I wasn't putting the weight of the United States government behind extremist views. And that is when we have the weight of the United States government behind extremist views, we've got a problem. And so your original question is, are we at an inflection point? We're at an inflection point in the sense that we always have to fight for our democracy. And we have to fight for those values that have made this country the envy of the world. And
yeah, as far as like free speech, yeah, and the laws and all of this, like, yeah, he's making a good point right there. We need to do that. Like, I don't know how true the democracy is, and of course, him being a politician, he would continue to sell that idea to people. I don't know how much power is in the vote, anyways. And I think that I'm not saying it doesn't have any power, and I'm not saying don't vote. I think that the fight has to be more than just democracy. You know what I mean? It has to be more going on. Because as long as we're just like waiting for the next election, you know, we're time is going by and they're still just doing what they're doing, and the American people still not getting what they need. So, you know, it has to be more to it. Organizing in community and doing what you can, you know, make a difference in your community. What they say, all politics is local. And stuff that don't have anything to do with politics at all and doesn't have anything to do with democracy or whatever. Just community, you know, helping people, feeding people, you know, having a stability. There's different ways to fight. And I like to say my existence is the resistance. And I believe that. My face is a reminder. And then it's you know, it's all about how you carry yourself, you know, the aura, the vibe, the energy, the model as far as setting the examples. You don't realize how many are watching you, you know, and they model your behavior. If they look up to you, they respect you. You know, I think that even though in this world morality and truth and justice is not upheld to a high esteem very much, because it seems like the people that don't have those things, integrity, character, they tend to be the ones that, you know, be in charge or be a politician, be the president or CEO, whatever. It seems like that's just my personal like perception. But those things do matter. Morality, integrity, character, and children especially. Like I say, you don't have to teach this. They automatically have, you know, most of them. There's there's some exceptions, but they automatically respect those characteristics and look up to those characteristics and aspire to them. And you know, like that's what I mean by modeling behavior and your existence being the resistance. Peace and love. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining. Next time. Oh, what's happening? I'm freezing up.